Guys, I have some news.
You have news.
You have news.
Oh shit.
Are you pregnant?
No.
Oh,
But what I am is
happy.
30.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. I totally forgot.
I joined you guys.
Welcome to the club.
I joined you guys in being 30.
I congratulated him on Sunday. He's
Yeah.
entered his 4th decade. Like
Yes. I'm 30. I'm an old guy now or something.
Yeah, old by F1 standards.
Yeah, but way old by F1 standards. But my birthday, like as you pointed out, was. Yeah, it was Sunday. But it was also the anniversary of something else that is great too.
far more sad.
Yes, far more sad. On May 8th, 1982, possibly one of the greatest Formula One drivers, definitely the greatest Canadian F1 driver
So far.
so far, passed away. His name was Gilles Villeneuve.
Salut, Gilles.
Gilles Villeneuve. Yes, and it's weird because this was he passed away in 82, but his glory days, his career in F1 really only lasted from 77 to 84. So he didn't have a great long career. If you think about the people that even to this day are starting to to be considered the veterans of the sport, they have way over 10 years in F1. And all that, and that's not uncommon today. Like Alonso, all of those guys, like even Lewis has been in the sport for 10 years.
Almost.
Right. So he actually had quite a tragically short F1 career, and I want to just take a minute here to look back and salute the guy that Gilles Villeneuve was, and it's weird because if you try to get into F1 right now, and you start reading about great drivers of the time, there is a name that does pop up quite often, and that is Gilles Villeneuve, and a lot of people, especially the older folk, that have been familiar with the sport, do regard him quite highly. As an example, Jeremy Clarkson of previous Top Gear fame, he said that he was never a Senna fan. He was a Villeneuve fan. Mm-hmm. Like that's a big statement. That means that he thought that Villeneuve was better than Senna.
Right.
And Senna is in many minds number one.
Where is the Circuit de Senna?
Yeah, there is no circuit.
Where is the Circuit de Senna?
Yeah. Whereas in Canada we have a circuit.
Where was Senna from?
Brazil.
He's Brazilian.
Oh shit.
He's Brazilian.
Ayrton Senna da Silva do Brazil. Yeah.
But you can never forget the Canadian Grand Prix. The circuit is named Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, it is the venue of the Canadian Grand Prix, and he raced on it. He actually won his first F1 race in his first year in in his first full season as an F1 driver. He won his first race in Canada in that circuit.
Oh, cool.
To
A French crowd.
thousands of
French Canadian crowd.
of French Canadian fans going wild. No, it was insane. And now, if you from right now, you see names like Gilles Villeneuve pop up in the top 10 list, top 20 drivers ever, to some people top 5 drivers ever, and they're grouping him with the likes of Michael Schumacher, with the likes of Senna, with the likes of Vettel and Alonso. They're grouping him with that crowd, yet he never won a championship. Actually, if you look at all his stats, he only won 6 Formula One races in total.
More than Martin Brundle.
Yeah, more than Brundle. But obviously, these were days long gone when the seasons were a lot shorter.
Yeah.
But his numbers don't actually speak for his genius. And it is true that if you are a fan today and you start, grabbing some interest in the history of F1, you do see the name Gilles Villeneuve pop up here and there. But if you start reading into just reading quick, fast facts of his career, you'd be less than impressed. You'd say he only won 6 races. He was in Ferrari for this many years, and actually when he was at Ferrari with a championship winning car, his teammate was the one that won the championship, not him.
Right.
You see some of the footage, and believe me, I've actually tried to go back enough and see some of the footage from the races. Number one, it's super hard to find things from back then because it was, FOM didn't exist, so all the broadcasting rights were whack. Some races you just can't get in English. So if you were to watch it right now, what you get is what people have done is put the original languages broadcast and then superimpose the English commentary, like radio commentary over it. So it produces some really weird results if you want to go that far back and see some of Villeneuve's races. And obviously, each race that they went to would have focused on the French Grand Prix, like most of the coverages of what the French drivers are doing, right? So anyway, it's hard to go back and really, really experience what Gilles Villeneuve was about. But let me tell you something, and this is, can you maybe kill the sound a little bit and just play this and have it go over the background. And this is something that proves what Gilles was about. Look at him there. After having an accident where his wheel popped off completely. Oh my God. Is something that would have stopped most drivers. And look at him go. He was like, yeah, riding this motherfucker in the race with his front wings
crumpled. The other clip was his back wing was crumpled,
blocking his visibility. He's the only driver out there doing qualifying laps like this.
Oy.
Like this.
And there it goes.
Yeah, there it goes. No front grip at all. And he's like, he kept going. He didn't go into the pits like that. But this is the brilliance. See, you see a lot of this, but he never, ever, when he went on like a big blow like that, he wasn't the kind of guy that took anybody else. Yeah. See, this quote that he's. Oh, by the way, thanks to Auntie Calhola on YouTube for putting this clip out is great.
He just jumped out, no seatbelt.
His mentality was, I can't hurt myself. Look at this. That's him over to
rubbing the wall.
Yeah.
The man is more important than the car.
Gilles Villeneuve is the kind of driver that I think it was one of his competitors one time said, I know that humans can't make miracles, but Gilles made you wonder sometimes. Because out of the years that he was in Ferrari, he only for 2 of those years he had a car that was barely competitive, whereas the rest of the time, look at this fight, wheel to wheel, just getting in there, and it's still going. Yeah, Gilles Villeneuve, and you see him in some of these clips attacking a corner and just sliding out.
Yeah,
and this is an era where the cars were driving with ground effects, with those skirts. These cars glued more to the track than they do now because of the ground effect. So the fact that Gilles was going around, skidding around, going like this, is because he was thrashing the car. He was giving it the absolute most, and that's why he was so much fun to watch. Gilles Villeneuve is probably responsible for making, especially the last generation, the baby boomers, fans of F1. Especially his effect was obviously not pronounced as much in North America as a whole. In Canada, it was a lot of Europeans though do have a lot of respect for Gilles Villeneuve. It's just
the final quote in that video there was, "Death is part of the job,"
and
that's what he said.
There's another quote here that I like to read that is kind of poignant to today, to today's conundrums that F1 is going to, and I guess it has been, and this is why people say like, oh yeah, F1, it's not the first time that we've gone through like this technical regulation changing and things like that. This is something that Gilles said. He said, I love motor racing. To me, it's a sport, not a technical exercise. My ideal Formula One car would be something like, and then he like did a car with a big, normally aspirated engine, 800 horsepower, which was a lot back then, 21-inch rear tires. A lot of people say that we should have narrower tires, but I don't agree because you need big tires to slow you down when you spin, and you need a lot of horsepower to unstick big tires to make the car slide. That would be a fantastic spectacle. We could take corners one gear lower than we do now, and we could get the car sideways. You know, people still rave about, and then et cetera, et cetera. But he keeps going. That's the kind of entertainment that I want to give the crowds. I want to smoke the tires. Yeah, I care about the fans because I used to be one of them. I believe that now the crowd is really losing bad. So even back then, he had that mentality that even today, like you still see, like, yes, it should be about the mechanical grip with a big engine, just
big engine, fat tires, wide stance.
Because that's when you see
racing.
That's when you see good racing.
Yeah.
Gilles Villeneuve was also the guy that said he didn't care for Ballester or Ecclestone. Ballester back then was the president of the FIA.
Right.
So he was basically like, I don't give a fuck about Ballester or Ecclestone because people are not coming here to see politicians and manipulators. They came here to see so on and so on, and to see me and to see us race.
Right.
To a lot of people, Gilles Villeneuve was the last guy that like really drove it like a Formula One car,
like he stole it
full out.
He drove it like he stole it
flat out. In fact,
with a fever.
Yeah, with
perhaps. You think he would have come on this podcast?
Oh yeah, he would have. He would have had a couple beers with us. But it was that kind of genuine person that like really captured everybody's attention because and everybody's imagination because he came from out of nowhere. His history is that he started racing snowmobiles in Quebec, and now the snowmobile racing, like, you got to think that it's insane.
Yeah. And
apparently, like back then, like if you like fucked up and like went off the ice, like when these things slid, like or you fell on the side, you have a thing that weighs more than you on you, dragging you across the ice, like sliding super fast. So that's the mistakes in snowmobile racing back then were punishing. So that's why you didn't make any mistakes. And unless you were in first place, if you were catching up to the lead, or if you wanted to like take over the lead, you weren't seeing anything because there was just like a big pile of snow blowing in your face all the time. So that apparently taught him how to drive in the rain, how to drive under poor visibility conditions. And he just had
not care about dying.
Yeah, it came with the job, and like he was, Alain Prost, who won 4 world championships, a big enemy of Senna back in the day. People called him the professor because his driving style was very calculated, and whereas he may not have had the most natural talent, he like studied, and he was the first, maybe the great thinker of how to approach a race. He said that Gilles was the last of the real intuitive natural drivers.
Oh wow!
That he was with him to Nigel Roebuck, who is a big respected journalist. He writes for Motorsport magazine. Mm-hmm. He said that when Gilles Villeneuve died, it's as if a whole part of the sport died with him. Like after Gilles, you never saw like drivers in F1 that were there for just the pure joy of driving a car as fast as it could drive.
Right.
Gilles Villeneuve, cool. But apparently that was just who he was.
Right.
Like he preferred to live in Italy because he could. When he was driving for Ferrari, he lived mostly in Monaco, but he preferred to like drive up and down to Italy because he could just freaking floor his Ferraris. Yeah. Like drive like 200 kilometers an hour down the Autostrada, and the carabinieri would pull him over, and then he'd just be like, "Come on, I'm Gilles Villeneuve. Here's an autograph. You want to take a picture? All right." And they let him go. They're like, "Oh, you're fucking Gilles Villeneuve."
Yeah, go as fast as you want, man.
The championship year that the Ferrari, like when he was in Ferrari, Ferrari did win that one championship. That his teammate Joey Scheckter, he was the one that won it for, complications that happened on the track. It was just due to bad luck. Otherwise, Gilles would have won it. The Tifosi, all of them, like their guy was Villeneuve. It wasn't the guy that won them the championship. It was Villeneuve.
Wow.
For those who forget or don't know, the Tifosi is the official name if you're a Ferrari fan.
Yeah, that's what they call themselves. The fans of Ferrari are the Tifosi. Yeah.
The Tifosi.
Enzo Ferrari himself, who was notoriously detached from the drivers because he knew that they wouldn't be sticking around, a lot of them. He
also believed that made better negotiations on his side.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
No personal relationship with any of them.
Yeah. But he said that he thought of Villeneuve as a son. As well as
wow.
Yeah, so he's like, I thought
wow, to say that coming from someone.
Tazio Nuvolari was one of the first stars in Grand Prix racing before F1 existed, before the war. The one big name that Fangio, for example, aspired to be, that Nino Farina, that Ascari, they all looked up to Tazio Nuvolari. I've brought up his name before in the podcast. Tazio Nuvolari was like one of the first like real stars of car racing back in the day.
Oh, cool.
Enzo Ferrari apparently was when he saw Gilles for the first time, he was like, this guy's like Tazio, like this guy, like he has it, like he's star quality, star power. Tragically, his pure passion and love for speed, like he drove the car
like its absolute limit,
and to limits that like people found him scary, like and that's probably why he was so exciting to watch. But other drivers at first were kind of weary, like saying like, this guy's just
dangerous, he's gonna
kill us and then kill himself. But the point is that he actually, if you see his accidents and the way that he handled the car, even Niki Lauda was like, this guy, like he's
Niki Lauda didn't drive at the same time as him, did he?
No, they weren't contemporaries. Like they didn't overlap.
Right,
it was before. But Niki Lauda was like, this guy, what he's doing with the car control is insane. It's insanity.
Interestingly, what Niki Lauda said last weekend about Kvyat driving like an asshole.
Yeah,
he said if I were Vettel, I would have got out and kicked the shit out of him. He said something like that. He would have kicked his ass.
Yeah.
He said I would have beat his ass.
Wait, Lauda's with
Mercedes, right?
Yeah.
But he just, Vettel's a German, right?
Yeah.
He's like, listen, if I was Vettel, I would have kicked Kvyat's ass for that.
Yeah.
That crash last weekend. But just to show you his character and what he thought about Villeneuve.
Yeah.
Right, and it's about that character, right? Because because clearly Kvyat was in the wrong in at least one of those situations.
I'm not trying to compare the two though. I don't think Villeneuve was like I'm gonna rush and double tap, show you no mercy.
Right.
No, he was just showing himself no mercy.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm gonna fucking show this car no mercy unless it gets me over the finish line.
When it came to other people around him, he was.
I don't think he was trying to hurt anybody.
No, he was super aware, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
He actually said like, I can't hurt anybody. I can't hurt myself. He said I can't even hurt myself. What I worry about is that sometimes I know that I'm gonna be able to hurt the car. I'm gonna be able to hurt the car.
So there you go.
Yeah,
but that's a brilliant mentality to have, especially with all like the recent stuff with all the crashes that sort of happened. Like even from that brief clip we just watched, you could tell that. Even if it was spinning out, he was still in control to some degree.
And that's the thing. The other drivers, or one of his rivals back in the day, when he died, one of his rivals said, okay, now we can go back to racing on a plane level, because this guy was just so far ahead
pushing
of
everybody forcing everybody past their own limits.
Yeah, so he's
wow.
he was that big. Just a couple quick other things. When he first joined in F1 was because after he was done racing snowmobiles, he knew that he wanted to race. He knew that racing was part of him in his blood. Right. He basically showed up after the snowmobiles. He started racing like little categories, little North American single-seater racing. Back in the day was things like Formula Atlantic don't exist anymore. Pan Am.
Racing on Mosport.
Yeah. Well,
the little Ontario tracks I'm talking about.
But anyway,
Mont Tremblant.
To even be able to like afford that, he apparently showed up one time to his house and his wife and said, "Honey, I sold the house. I'm buying a racing car." He was like,
I want to be a race driver. I would never sell my house to buy a race car.
Yeah.
That's retarded. Can you sleep in it? Are we going to sleep in there? How intrusive is the roll cage? Is the gas tank in the back seat?
Yeah, so
oh my god.
So that's the kind of guy he was. So when he was racing for this lower categories, James Hunt, who happened to be in North America at that time, he saw him race in Formula Atlantic and said, like, this guy, like, he's got it. So he was the one that brought him. At that time, James Hunt was racing for McLaren. Mm-hmm. He fucking bugged the McLaren to the point that they were like, we gotta get this guy a chance. We gotta get this guy. We gotta get this guy. So they brought him to Europe. They sat him in a McLaren, a third McLaren car that was from the year past. So it was already not a current spec McLaren. Now, back in the day, you remember, like, as a team, you could just enter people. Like, you could have, like,
you could have 3 or 4 cars, yeah.
Yeah. So, on that underperforming McLaren from last year that got basically put together at the last minute, he managed to split the McLarens. He was just behind.
You guys just between the two of them.
Between the two McLarens. That was his first showing. Like, that's how quick he was. Then after that, that's when he got snapped by Ferrari, and immediately that after he won his first Grand Prix. But not only that, remember that clip where it showed him driving on 3 wheels because of the one. Apparently, like, even on 3 wheels, and when he was going like, he was going like almost as fast as he had been on 4 wheels, like, without hardly diminishing the pace.
Oh my god!
And so it's just that's the kind of crazy guy that he was, right? Like, he then went over to get his rest of his race wins, but clearly one of the things that actually pull up this other clip. Put Gilles Villeneuve Dijon.
And listen, Jacques. Anyone that knows anything about Jacques Villeneuve, his son.
It's their one. Yeah,
no disrespect, but you can get from this story, from these clips, from this legacy, you can get
one of these two.
Where Jacques got his attitude, in quotes, from. Because a lot of people think he has a bad attitude, but Jacques has proved to be a kick-ass racer his entire life. He's driven NASCAR.
That's Gilles Villeneuve in the red, and that's René Arnoux in the yellow. Now, this is a race that went on. These are the last laps of this French Grand Prix in Dijon. It's gone down to history as one of the races that, at least this fight right now, is Formula One history, like, top shelf. And it's not because of who won. This is the battle, and that's what's important about remember about Gilles. He is fighting for second place, not first. But even though he's not fighting for the top step of the podium, he's still not living. And now this guy up here, he's in a Renault that was faster than the Ferrari in this case, because it had a turbocharger. The Ferrari didn't.
Right.
So and he's still there and thereabouts, giving this guy a hard time. And now look at him. Boom. Like, he didn't even care about his brakes. Brake as last as he could, and as late as he could, and he keeps going.
Wow.
No, this keeps going on till the very end of this video.
Holy
like
shit.
Just trading plays back and forth. But anyway, let's the point is that's the kind of guy that he was, and that's why so many people that remember the sport from back then, when they're talking about like we should go to the golden days, the old days of F1, they're talking about this.
Yeah.
They're talking about the
Straight
mechanical
up
grip.
cars, straight up mechanical. Look how wide. This is what we're gonna see next year. For anyone watching, or for you, Mike, we're gonna see cars that wide with that fat of tires and that big of wings. This is what we're looking at next year.
But
Big fat low cars like this,
but with,
They do look kind of fucking weird,
but
though.
with turbos, turbos and
man.
hybrid power.
banging wheels. Look at this. Anyway, Gilles Villeneuve, definitely still remembered. If you're an F1, a new F1 fan out there,
boom! Holy Jesus!
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Don't worry about raking the runoffs.
No. And there he goes. He takes second place again. Look at how close they were racing. After these streets, he comes out he comes out ahead. There he is.
For all the Jacques haters, you see where he gets it, and you can understand. And there's not even he doesn't even need a forgiveness. That's him. He was born with this racing power, man. People think he's an asshole or whatever. I might be biased because I'm a Canadian, but I don't think so. And he's never got the accolades that his dad but like I was trying to say, he's doing NASCAR, Indy, Formula One, Le Mans. He's fucking raced everything that you can race, go-kart, every category possible, and he's still out there.
Yeah.
He was at the Chinese Grand Prix.
There he goes. Till the checkered flag, fighting. And that is the spirit that people say that an F1 driver should have. It shouldn't be about conserving tires. It shouldn't be about conserving fuel. It should be about driving flat out every single lap.
Yeah.
Every single lap.
Fighting.
Should be fighting. Should be this.
Right.
And that's, I think, one of Gilles Villeneuve's strongest legacy that still lives on is that there was somebody
passion.
there was a driver out there that showed everybody that the driver did matter, that it wasn't just about having the best car in the best situation. No, that the driver can make a difference, and that's how drivers should drive. Just giving her all the time, pushing until there was no more to push, and even then keep pushing.
Let's make a nice segue now to another to-be great Canadian driver,
Oh yeah, hopefully.
Nicholas Latifi.
We talked about him earlier in the show. So yeah, here's the deal. So he actually just finished testing for Renault, a guy from Toronto with very little. He had very little in terms of a history in his family of racing or anything. And really, actually, to start single-seater racing and you know from karts from an early age in Canada is something that you wouldn't think of. You know, who do you know that goes out that is out there racing, or you know, when you were a kid that was out there racing karts, or you know, at a competitive level, right? Like, people played travel hockey, travel basketball, this and that, but nobody did racing, right? So
he's been signed as the official Renault test driver.
Yeah, today after being very competitive in the feeder series, he's also racing in GP2 this year, but he now
big times.
He just completed a test that Renault basically did for their filming days, because each F1 team gets a number of filming days that they're allowed to use previous cars or whatever. But anyway, during one of these filming days, they chose to give the seat to Nicholas Latifi of Toronto, and to complete enough laps
at
in
Silverstone.
At Silverstone, he completed enough laps to meet the minimum requirement, which is 300 kilometers.
He did a bit more than that.
No,
Jay.
he did 400 and something. Yeah.
Yeah, 400 and what? First of all, let's say he was driving the V8, the E20.
Yeah, he was
Lotus car. So I don't know how this exactly works. Like, Renault took over the Lotus team.
So you buy all the property.
You buy all their previous cars. So
Yeah.
all the Lotus cars from the whole history.
Well,
nobody gets the, like.
No, not necessarily, because Lotus, of all the history, wasn't the Enstone team.
Right.
So the Enstone team, whatever
So
was
the
built.
most recent team. So you think as long as they were Lotus is what Renault?
No, as long as they were the Enstone team, Enstone team.
So, anyways, he did 140 laps in the Model E20 V8 2012 Lotus car.
Yeah.
Do you know how many kilometers he did?
450 something? Or something?
No, he drove 116 over 300,
So
which is how many?
416.
How many is that?
416.
And what's that?
416.
416. 416 Toronto.
You did a four. You did
Represent the 6, Drake. He's like the Drake of F1, representing the 6.
That is hilarious.
Thank you, Nicholas. Yeah, he did exactly 416 kilometers.
But anyway, now he qualifies.
416 is the area code of Toronto. If you want to,
yes.
if you want to call me on the phone, if you want to call me on my cell phone, 416.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But he completed the minimum amount of kilometers to be able to be eligible for a super license.
This is true.
Which a
300.
super license will allow you to participate in F1 events.
Right.
Or
You are allowed to drive an F1 car without a super license as long as it's not at an FIA sanctioned event, a competition. Correct. You're not at a practice, testing day, or race.
Well, and now a lot of people have been saying that, hey, will he be there? Will he drive FP1 at the Canadian Grand Prix?
This is a big hope for us Canadians.
Yeah,
he will not.
He will not. Yeah, for all of you Canadian fans, we will not see a Canadian drive an F1 car at the Canadian Grand Prix this year. Unfortunately, he can't get all the paperwork and everything else that he needs in place.
Something interesting. The Renault team, though, their official reason was not that. Their official reason is that coming up after that is his first GP2 race in Baku. Yeah. And they said that got in the way. But it probably is what you said. The paperwork. The super license paperwork takes time. They're probably not allowed to talk shit about FIA bureaucracy.
Yeah.
But the season opener for the GP2 season this year is at Baku.
Oh.
Which is right after Canada.
No, it's Spain.
No, I think it's Baku.
It's Spain. Oh, is it?
Are you sure? Maybe.
Sure.
Oh, sorry. No, you're right. Round 3 though. He's got the Baku race right after Canada. You're right. Yeah. It's the third round. Round. Yeah. Yes. This weekend is the first opening GP2. So he will be there. Though.
Well, he'll be there in Spain, like racing GP2. So
will be racing.
He will probably get interviewed by
brain fart.
By the media. But
yeah, the Renault's official reason though is that he's got to be at the GP2 race. He's got to get ready. He's got to prep himself. Yeah, fair enough. Anyways, whether or not his paperwork's ready, and Jolyon Palmer this weekend is giving up his FP1 seat anyways.
But that's the thing, man.
Escoban or whatever. What the fuck is his name?
Esteban Ocon.
Ocon, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who cares about that guy?
Well, no. He's actually really good too, and he's had a good. I think him and Leclerc really remember how we talked about Leclerc? So
I do.
Leclerc, Ocon actually has got a good chance to end up in F1 sooner rather than later. But the deal is that now
he's got more money behind him, right?
Well, I think he's more marketable too, like because he's a French driver, so a French driver in a French car. But Jolyon Palmer landed his Renault seat. Now, basically because he inherited it, because he already had it from the Lotus days, and it was easy, and he had a contract in place, etc. But
he's good with media.
The rumor is that perhaps Renault is not all too happy with Jolyon's performance now.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like,
so they might, and he nowhere in his contract basically it says that he has to take part of all the sessions of all the races of this year. His contract is kind of weak, so Renault could actually they have the power to replace him mid-season, and it could just be that. It could be, but it could. I'm not saying that it's going to be Nicholas Latifi that's going to replace him if it came to that. But one thing is for sure. Remember when we were talking with Tim Horaney, and he said that. By 2018, we could see 2 Canadians on the grid.
Yeah, it's very possible.
We could see Nicholas Latifi and Lance Stroll.
Lance Stroll, we've been following too a little bit more peripherally, I guess, and we sort of just gotten into this Latifi groove lately.
Yeah.
For anyone that's listening, we talked to Tim Horaney 3 weeks ago. If you want to go back and check out the interview, he's the TSN correspondent. Canadian TV correspondent.
He's a racing analyst.
He's a racing analyst for the Sports Network of Canada.
Now,
anyways, got some authority in his voice.
one last thing, I guess that we could touch on is another like bit of news that's been popping up recently is the changes to the cars in 2017 and the approved changes, because now the changes have been approved. It is going to happen.
Signed off. It's happening for real. The deadline did not pass.
It basically needs to be rubber stamped by the F1 Commission and then approved once again by the World Motorsport Council. It's basically going to happen, and this is what it's going to look like. And this is obviously courtesy of F1 Fanatic. Great site if you're a new F1 fan and you haven't checked them out yet. Check them out already, because
.co.uk, not .com. British, super British.
Just Google F1 Fanatic, you'll find it. But now, see, so this is a top view of the car, and like, can you is this on screen?
Grab that bar.
Yeah. So this is go show 2016 first. And look at the changes, especially at the back. You're going to see a big change, and around the barge boards here. Like, as you start to grab it. Bigger tires, bigger wing.
Bigger floor. Much bigger floor.
Much bigger floor means also the car is going to stick to the ground more.
About the same size inlets for the air.
Look at these
barge boards.
Big-ass barge boards.
Huge barge boards there. Yeah. Sticking out. Fatter and... more sticky outy tires slightly.
Yeah. And
a slightly fatter front wing. Still not reaching to the edges of the tires, though. Sticking with that philosophy.
But these wider cars, what's going to allow them to do is... Well, one of the things is that they're going to look more aggressive. For sure. These cars with the fatter tires and just being wider
stance
all over is going to look like a more aggressive animal coming at you. The track.
It's 20 centimeters, isn't it?
Yeah.
0.2 meter. 20 centimeters is a lot. Very like Americans, that's like 9 inches, something 8 to 9 inches wider.
Yeah,
it's a lot. That's a lot wider for a car.
Oh, and look at that curve. Yeah.
Yes, this delta, they're calling it the delta thing.
The swoop in the front wing there.
It's basically it's meant for that. It's meant to cosmetically make the car look like a racier car, a faster car.
Aerodynamically, it doesn't do a lot, really.
Yeah, no. But it looks badass. Look at it.
We can see a front and side view slide like this, too.
Yeah. Go down, and then you'll see the next one.
Don't forget, as we talked about for last week, for next year, we're getting a 5% fuel increase as well. So the cars should be faster for more of the race. 5% fuel allocation limit, not a flow limit.
Yeah.
The flow limit, I believe, as far as being agreed so far, will be the same.
Look at the back wing, though.
The back wing's getting much bigger. It's getting wider.
It's wider, but it's shorter. No, it's not taller. It's shorter.
Lower.
Look at it. Yeah, it's shorter, but it's swept back a little.
It's swept. It's close to the same surface area, actually, when you really look.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit smaller, but
no, it's
wider,
just
though.
shorter, but shorter and wider.
Yeah, the width makes up for that.
Yeah. Car the rest of the way is gonna stay like kind of the same from the back, but then
the height is the same.
Here we have these huge barge boards again coming up.
Yeah, they get more than twice as big.
Yeah, those are gonna be massive to see. Like they're gonna be ridiculous almost. those silly barge boards. And yes, the wing is gonna stick out a little longer because it's gonna be like that. That's gonna be the swept back part.
Yeah.
And then the front view is actually pretty cool to see as well. Let's a bit further down. There it is.
2016 on the left.
So that's today's car.
This is what we see now: the tall, narrow back wing,
and
skinny tires.
Immediately, you start to see the tire pop up. Look at that. The bigger tire.
The tires gets way bigger. With the
the
inside stays in the same position.
Both the front and back tires the same size?
No. The back tire is always a little bigger, but they're still going to be... They're both bigger.
Now as well. They are fatter at the back as well.
Yeah.
But like the front...
Yeah, you see the change of the wing?
The front tires next year are going to be close to the back tires this year. Like pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see the wing there. At the half and half, you can see a big difference in the tire, wing, the back wing. The front wing, you don't see as much because the proportion is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But they are wider. The height is the same and the width of the elements are about the same.
Yeah, look,
But
look,
they
you can see it there.
start further
How much
out.
bigger the side, the wing is on the
Right.
side. Yeah.
Right. But the elements themselves, I think, are pretty similar.
Yeah.
The height, width, max height and width.
Now, is this a revolution that people have been waiting for?
No.
It's a devolution, really. It's going backwards. It's more like a mix of the modern approach with the like Villeneuve era
You know what it-
sizes and look, I guess.
You know what it is? It's a Band-Aid for now.
Yeah,
It's
it's a Band-Aid in a sense.
And
yeah.
it's gonna be a Band-Aid year overall because we know that everything is gonna change in
We
2018.
did say that a lot about this year,
Yeah.
and it's been pretty cool so far.
That's true.
I mean,
It's been pretty cool so far. Yeah, throw a wrench, a monkey.
something.
Monkey in the gears, a wrench in the monkey. What is it say? One of those.
It's one of the
Throw a
monkey or the
in,
wrench.
Wrench gears.
Something
monkey.
I've sort of been noticing recently, in I think it was from the last race, or like some sort of commentary, was that how long the cars are.
Oh yeah.
And as
Like
soon as
from
someone
the wing to the back.
yeah, and then as soon as they said that, I looked at the car. I was like, yeah, it's very long. Like you look,
It's like an SUV, like full size.
Yeah.
Full-size vehicle.
like looking at all the Gilles stuff that we just saw. Like those are much smaller looking cars.
And
They were as wide as this, like 2 meters wide, but they were shorter. You get more grip that way. So
Right.
You're less likely to swing out the back or lose the front or understeer with a
Right.
shorter car. Yeah. It's totally different. It's just a totally different approach, totally different physics, totally different driving style to the two cars. A lot of people want to go back to the shorter cars, but a lot of the reason they got away with the shortness of them is that the driver's feet were sticking in front of the tires, which is now illegal.
yeah.
Which a lot of drivers lost or broke their legs or were never able to walk or died because of that. Because they stuck their feet out in front of the front tires,
Yeah.
which is not allowed anymore. Which is a big part of the length. The rest, I don't know. That's pretty much the reason. Your feet can't stick in front of the front tires anymore.
Turning is it's the wheelbase. I mean, how separated the wheels are from each other does affect the handling of the car.
Yeah,
I mean,
the more square the car is, the more balanced it'll be. Like if you look at a
Right.
go-kart, if you go all the way down to go-karts, they're super wide and short, and it's super short. They're like a square. So you get like
And
a
you sit
very
right in the
balanced, and
middle.
you sit right in the middle.
Yeah.
The motor weighs nothing. It's a little like 50cc one cylinder, like a lawnmower engine, basically. Not much bigger, making more power, obviously, but you don't need not cutting grass.
Yeah.
But they're squares. They're flat shirt squares. That's what gives you the balance. But yeah, we can't go back to that with the modern era because you got to keep your feet behind the front tires, and you need those fat wings sticking out, safety, all that safety, and you have to slow down the car from 300 to 0 with the carbon in front of the tires, basically. If you're gonna run into a wall,
Right.
yeah. That's pretty much it. That's why you can't.
That's why they pretty much have to be as long as they are. I guess the cars.
Yeah, because
Otherwise-
the back engine is as back as it can be. Like
If there was no safety involved in that, then you bet your top dollar, Mike, that
the cars would be shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all safety though. Since people lost their legs and lives up into the 90s, it's just evolved away from that. And same with modern vehicles. You see the long hoods. Even if you see any modern racing road car that has a back engine, like any of the Ferraris or the Ford GT or the new NSX,
They're bigger
any of
cars than
those
they
cars,
used to be.
You have a long nose, even though you can only fit like a knapsack in the front hood.
Yeah.
That's a long nose. It's all just safety, just to protect your legs, and you're walking to walk away from it, crashing it.
Yeah. Shit.
That's pretty much that's all of it. But we're gonna see these badass cars next year.
And who knows what 2018 is gonna bring?
2018. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You don't even know next
2020.
year. They're gonna change their name.
Yeah,
They're gonna
exactly.
change their minds about next year 5 more times
Oh yeah.
before we get there.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Speaking of which, the last topic here, some updates on possible
You had
future
this.
circuits.
Yeah.
We talk about next year's cars a lot. We've been talking about Moscow. So the Russian GP just happened. There's been some Bernie especially is being sort of hinting we might just throw away the Sochi circuit, just like the Olympic stadiums, never use it again, just like them, and move to Moscow. And apparently he's been pushing the Moscow Red Square race, like downtown Moscow, somehow get the cars through Red Square, through the city square. He's been pushing that since the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Here, the biggest hit this week, 4 big tracks have come up. Moscow was supposed to host the Formula E race in June 4th, the first week of June.
Yeah.
It's being canceled because of some sort of permits or regulations regarding closing the streets.
Mm-hmm.
If they can't get Formula E, we're not going to see F1 happening. The
Right.
safety, the logistics, the crowds, everything is 10 times what Formula E it could even hope to be at this
Right.
point.
At least.
Yeah. Formula E is cool and all, whatever. I'm not putting them down, but Formula E is just that much bigger.
You mean Formula One is much?
Formula One is that much bigger than Formula E. If Formula E is not getting it happen, it's not going to happen. London. Bernie was in the news this week making headlines about London.
Again, journalist extraordinaire Joe Sayward has been calling the thing around London a pipe dream and just something that Bernie's bringing up because he wants to put more pressure on Silverstone.
That's a big part of it. And don't forget, Bernie Ecclestone has been pushing the London Grand Prix since the 70s, as well as Monaco.
It's got like London has like way more rules and way more like ridiculous shit like hoops to like go through than even Moscow would,
But
just to host a race there.
Formula E last year closed out their season in London, in downtown
Well,
London.
they actually did throughout the year. They did 2 races in London.
They did a double header
Yeah.
around Battersea Park in London, and they had, I believe, parliamentary approval, changed the laws of England that said that streets could be closed for some sort of competition. But
It was around the park though. It would be different.
Yeah, it was around
if
the park.
F1. You couldn't race F1 cars in that shorter circuit. It would have to be like a massive thing. And besides, Bernie wouldn't want to do it around Battersea Park, for example. He wanted do it right down the Mall and to Buckingham Square or Buckingham Palace.
He's been pushing Hyde Park and Buckingham Palace. For those who don't, Hyde Park is like the central park, the downtown big park,
and actually
and Buckingham Palace is the government buildings.
The FOM offices are right
around the park,
right near Hyde Park.
He overlooks the park.
Yeah.
So he said Formula E has worked on the federal stuff. The laws are in place, but there's secondary legislation that must be passed for F1 that would allow a local council to close a road for a high-speed road race.
Yo, we got an interesting question coming on right now. If Raikkonen, Alonso, Button, and Massa retired last year, I think he means next year. If they retire next year, who would take their place? Okay, let's see. So Raikkonen, who would take their place?
It's not Verstappen anymore.
No, it's not. Yeah, it would have to be somebody.
I guess Gutierrez
associated.
But Haas loves
Grosjean.
that guy.
Maybe Grosjean.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I meant to say. Sorry, Grosjean. But yeah, Haas is loving him. They want him to push into NASCAR. They're not letting that guy go.
No, but
he's their fucking star now.
Yeah, but Grosjean. But if Grosjean was giving a chance to go to Ferrari, he'll take it, and Ferrari can push their will on Haas. They can at this time. Yeah. So yes. So Raikkonen, if Raikkonen goes, I think it would be either Grosjean or Nico Hülkenberg.
It's got Grosjean.
Yeah, or Grosjean. So
Hülkenberg's not sellable. Grosjean's making some news. He's likable, he's laughing. He's having fun.
Yeah. Who was the next? Alonso. So if Alonso goes, it would be Stoffel van Dorn.
Yeah, it's for Van Dorn. He already drove Alonso's car and kicked its ass. He showed the car who's boss.
Absolutely.
And who was the last one?
Yeah, no, there was somebody else. Was that it? Wasn't that fourth
Button
one?
and Massa.
Oh, okay. Well,
Button also Van Dorn.
Yeah, it would be Van.
Unless they both left at once, then McLaren would.
It would be Van Dorn.
Van Dorn
and then another I would say maybe somebody, maybe a Japanese driver, to appease Honda.
Yeah, it's possible. See, Honda announced that they'd be willing to supply 2 teams. One of them will be, mark my words, Toro Rosso.
Okay.
The second one, they're not gonna obviously Toro Rosso is Red Bull's feeder team.
Yeah.
They're gonna work on one of the lower teams, give them the engines, and say like, let's work this out.
Mm-hmm.
You fucking drive our engines, and we'll take your drivers when they get really good.
True.
For sure. From McLaren's getting that big. They've been around 20 years now. They can start to get a feeder team inside F1. Possibly. There's a hint of that. And for Massa, I don't know if even Williams might have to replace both guys next year or in the year after. It's getting close, man. Like Massa's son can barely even like drive a go-kart yet.
Yeah. If Massa goes, I would like to think it would be Lance Stroll.
Yeah, that's our hope for Canada.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Lance Stroll is already like the development driver at Williams. So I think if Massa goes, I would like to hope that they pick Stroll.
That would be for me my dream. Let Massa maybe hold on one more year. Let's Stroll pull out this year, have next year to do some test days and FP1s, and then bring him in after one more year.
Yeah, why not?
And then I don't know Bottas is proving himself, so let him keep proving himself.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going on that. Let's keep going on that note. So who else is old and like in danger of retiring? All right, Jolyon Palmer. If Jolyon Palmer goes, then
he's got a career as a commentator, probably. Yeah, maybe.
Then it would be Ocon that would take his seat more readily than Latifi. But I think that if Kevin Magnussen keeps overperforming and keeps doing a good job at Renault, he's not going to stick at Renault for too long. So I think that would be Latifi's chance if Magnussen eventually goes to a different team as a solid number 2. Let's say like he definitely has a future in a top team as a solid number 2. Like if
he's got a personal sponsor locked from his home country. So he's got money behind him. Yeah.
And Jack Jones or whatever.
He's got a country behind him as well.
Oh yeah.
Whereas some drivers don't. Their countries are either too big or too many drivers from there.
Who else is starting to look old and or that they couldn't last in F1 for too long?
That's close to it, really. There's the grid's fairly young, man.
If for
Raikkonen,
some reason, no, we already covered Raikkonen.
I think that's it, man.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, if Vettel for some reason has a freak accident and loses his legs, then the Ferrari Driver Academy is looking thin. They don't have a lot of feeders. Right now that could take that place. I guess we mentioned Leclerc, but I think Leclerc has more chances of making it into one of the Ferrari minion teams like Haas, for example, or Sauber even, but I think more Haas than Sauber. So that would be the trade.
Man. You can't, that would be the trade. Nobody just comes into F1 to Ferrari or Mercedes.
That would be the trade that I could see happen. If Raikkonen leaves, I think Grosjean would go to Ferrari and Leclerc might go into Haas.
Yeah.
Or an American, I guess.
Those are reasonable shuffles. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe Rossi.
But geez, Rossi.
There's a chance for him to come back.
Yeah, maybe. Or Latifi.
The door is open. He's got some experience.
Yeah. So
let's going back to the U.S. The Vegas Grand Prix. It seems like from headlines this past week, it's not happening.
What, Vegas? Vegas was also I don't think it was serious.
Yeah, I think it probably was serious because that's the attitude in Vegas. Is everyone's got a huge ego, like I can win this. This is mine. I fucking put down, spin the wheel, man, spin that wheel. But that's the type of attitude that people that are attracted to Vegas
there have been races in Vegas before.
There's been races there, and there's just the attitude of ego and I can do this.
Yeah,
I can win. But anyways, Ecclestone's his quote is that they want the race there.
Yeah.
But the city doesn't want it on the strip, and he wants the race on the strip because the big thing for selling a race, especially nowadays, is that you recognize the city. They fly in helicopters through downtown and all kinds of shit when you see the opening show. Ecclestone wants the circuit.
Oh, it has to be a big show.
On the strip.
It has
the
to
main
be a big
pit
show.
Has to be on the strip.
It has to be a big show because, like, I mean, Vegas
That's
is just the strip and that's it, right? So it would have to be down the strip to look spectacular, to look F1 level spectacular. Right now, the race on the race in Singapore goes right through the downtown of the city, and it looks
and it goes through the ports, both.
Yeah.
You go through the ports and downtown,
and it looks awesome. So they want to, and I guess so does. The race in Monaco. I guess the model for a city race would have to be something like that. Something that
Baku, Monaco.
Yeah, right. Something that cuts through the heart of town, so you can like show the city, like you said, so you can
Red
show
Square, Moscow, London. The idea we gotta get this past the Parliament buildings and the big park.
Now,
but it's
do I disagree with that? Absolutely not. I think that is how it should be. Is it a bit weird because most cities obviously are not designed for cars to be raced around them? Yeah. Would it be challenging to make a racetrack around the downtown of London, Vegas, you name it, that would be exciting enough for the drivers and the spectators? Yes, that is the biggest challenge. But if it can be done,
it's possible.
If it can be done, it should definitely be looked into. Not what Bernie's doing, which is bringing these options up as bargaining chips.
Yeah, it's probably in the end of the day, if they could have put it together, they would have raced it. Bernie wants 1 or 2 more American races. Remember we had last year, we looked at San Francisco, fell through. New York, in his quote talking about Vegas, he said, "Don't worry, we want another race. There's other contenders, but it looks like we missed out on New York and San Francisco and Vegas. It's not happening on the strip." Monza to finish off, still up and down, back and forth. As far as I know, the second longest running Formula One race is at Monza. And he threw out the same quote as when we talked about this at the start of the season, is that F1, the FOM, the FIA has been looking at Imola. Mm-hmm. But don't forget, this is Bernie's quote, not mine. Yeah. Don't forget, Imola is owned and run by Italians, so we'll find out on the last day. That's what he said. But if you look at Monza, man, they've run the Grand Prix there about 85 times, and it's been running since the start of Formula One officially in 1950. Yes. But I do believe that Monaco is longer running consecutively. Right. Consecutive.
Because they've been
They've never stopped. Yeah. There have been 85 Monza Grand Prix as well, but Monaco's been broken up in between.
What on earth happened to a New Jersey race? That's a question from Black Inferno 99. Thanks for asking.
Black Inferno 99 would be best for you, I think, if you went back to the clip that we have from a few months ago. If you search through our YouTube, we had like an onboard. We got a video of the street view of how the circuit would have been. It's a badass circuit. It is
a shame that it's not even on the table anymore.
It was fucking badass, man. Wicked corners, lots of swooping corners.
For a street race,
the overlook,
that would have been amazing.
The elevation was bigger than Baku.
We were even talking about going like our plan was like, we have to go there if it happens.
I would have been there. I would have fucking been there. We did a Google Street View type thing of going around that circuit. Yeah, you can look that up. That's my best suggestion to you.
No, but whatever happened to it is this question.
Patting on back too much, I think we did one of the best breakdowns of that circuit that could have been, aside from it happening.
Yeah. Well, but whatever did happen is that Bernie started asking for too much money, and they couldn't come up with the money together. What's the other question?
All these circuits.
There's more. That was not the only question. Who will leave first, Hamilton or Rosberg? Rosberg.
He's got a baby, and one of his eyes is fucked up. Yeah, no, his left eye.
You mean his evil eye?
His evil eye. It's his robot eye. It's fucked up. He's never gonna lose his periphery in it.
All right.
But it'll start shooting lasers, and he'll get disqualified. He'll just go play with his baby. He'll be allowed to do.
And where will Carlos Sainz be in 5 years with? In 5 years. So where will Carlos Sainz be in 5 years?
Probably on the pit wall.
Carlos Sainz?
Yeah,
he's got a lot of strength. But in 5 years, Alonso will be gone, so he'll be the only Spanish or He might be the
He's
best.
got that going for him.
Well,
but
he might be the best Spanish driver, and F1 I don't think is gonna disappear off the Spanish radar. They have a following now, thanks to Alonso for sure. But I think
I'm
that
not
in
being
5 years,
anti-Spanish, but I don't
No.
think he's good enough to be sticking around as a driver in 5 years.
I think he might just be like a good number 2, right? Like he might end up like in Ferrari.
A good enough number 2.
Yeah, he could be a good enough number 2 for teams that like that sort of stuff. For teams that like a good obedient number 2. So maybe I think that
He might
not
be
not,
racing,
not
but-
necessarily where he will be, but I think that the best that he can aspire for in 5 years is to be Ferrari number 2. What was the other question?
I think that was it.
That was
No,
it.
no,
No,
it was-
sorry. Alexander Rossi returned to F1.
Will he return to F1?
That's what I said. He's the highest prospecting American
For now.
at least. But fortunately for us, at least,
Yeah.
there are 2 higher prospecting Canadians
Yeah.
who are younger, less F1 explicit experience,
Yeah.
but better experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We just talked about. We don't need to talk about it again.
Will do I believe that Rossi will actually make it to F1?
No.
It's
If
highly-
he was
I
that
don't
good,
think
Haas
so.
would have picked him
Yeah.
up, man. Haas would throw him
He's,
in.
he's
And
getting older
cross-promote him
now,
with
or
NASCAR.
older to make his full F1 debut.
yeah, he's like 32,
I don't
33.
think-
He's too old.
I
He's gotta be
honestly,
mid-twenties.
sincerely don't think that he will.
He
He
won't- he
might
won't be
be
back.
the best American prospect, but he won't make it to.
He might work for Haas, and if he'll probably race lower categories, do what he can, kick ass in them, and then work his way, like work for F1 for Haas or something,
Or
like,
as
in a team
as part
level.
of like the North American broadcasting team, whatever that might be, like NBC or whatever.
I don't know. I've never seen him on television, but he could probably work as management, something like that, for a team.
Yeah.
F1, that type of stuff.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. That's where I'd see him. That's all I got for this week, anyway.
Yeah.
For those races, hopefully Monza keeps happening. I think it will. I think they'll fight through. Imola's another bargaining chip, but Moscow, London, Vegas, you're not going to see those soon. We're not going to see New Jersey. It's just Bernie spinning webs of bullshit. It won't happen.
All right, DJ.
Oh yeah, here
That's
we
it.
go.
That's it. Enjoy the race, everyone. Come out.
Yeah, come to
Torontonians,
Betty's.
come out on hang out on Betty's on Sunday. We'll be showing the race at 3 p.m.
No, 3 p.m. is pre-show.
3
4 p.m.
pre-show,
is the shit.
3 p.m. Come hang out. Anyways, we can talk shit. Guess
That's what you
who's gonna
normally
win the
do.
race. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Half price wings, half price nachos, bone shakers on tap,
Yeah, so many beers on tap.
All of them.
All the beers.
cask beers, Betty's itself,
All right,
renamed.
I think we're
Slog.
good to go.
Place out.
There we go. Listen to bamboo.com. Whoa.
We're trying to listen to that bamboo.
.com.
I don't know what happened. My computer just took a
Oh, there we go.
giant
Yeah,
dump.
he's just daydreaming. Mike's got HTC Vive arrived in the mail today.
Yeah, so I've just
everyone's
been thinking about it all
super
fucking day.
excited.
All right, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Peace.
Have a great
Peace out.
weekend.
See you next
See you
week.
next week or Sunday, possibly Sunday.
Or
Come out Sunday. Drive up from America, American.